Apex Media is here with a big newsmaker from day one of Apex Expo 2017. This is David Dicko, CEO of SkyLights. David, why don't you tell us a little bit about this?
Sure. So we do immersive entertainment as an in-flight entertainment solution, and this is at least part of our Gen 2, our second big release. And this is the new hardware, new headset that we call AlloSky, and that now comes with a bunch of content, new content partnerships that we've had, and that is going to be deployed on the first airlines at the end of Q1 2018.
Okay, and which airlines are those?
So the ones that I can announce today are Air France, June, Corsair, and I will have to stop there for more news to come probably in the coming week, hopefully during the show.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
And can you talk about some of the content partners? What kind of content
Sure.
is best suited to this type of virtual reality experience?
So let's begin with the heart of what we do. The heart of what we do is around immersive cinematic entertainment. So what that is, it's watching 2D, 3D full feature movies, as well as documentary series and 180-degree content. So what you would classically call VR.
Right.
Our passengers spend most of their time watching full feature movies.
Yeah.
But then they will also discover what VR is all about, both relaxing content, 180-degree content, or games. So we have all of these things. On the classic full feature part, we have our historical partners were Fox and DreamWorks. To that, we've added and we've announced at this show Warner Bros, BBC, Lionsgate, National Geographics, and many other smaller studios that deal with the specific 180-degree content.
How does the content get into the glasses?
Into the device. So it's locally stored, as well as wireless enabled. So it can access your wireless streaming content if you have wireless IFE on the aircraft.
Cool.
But otherwise, it also can handle its own local content that enables us to have early window access to content for up to 50 full feature movies.
Wow, fantastic. And I saw something in your news release as well with regard to logistics. You didn't want the flight attendants to have to manage the devices and hand them out?
So this is a result, this Gen 2 is a result of everything that we've learned from Gen 1.
Right.
And Gen 1 pretty much gave the same passenger experience, which block out the other world, and basically be in front of a kind of giant movie screen. But it had complexity on the operational side because you had to clean the device, you had to charge the device, had to hand the device by the cabin crew. And so essentially this cuts, at least simplifies the logistics drastically.
Sure. Yeah.
Because not only can it be used trolley-based, where it's brought on board the aircraft and then handed out by cabin crew, but it can also be connected to the seat and handled kind of on the seat itself, like other devices such as active noise canceling headsets.
So I have a question about the VR headset.
Sure.
I've not tried to use one on the plane before. I've certainly tested them out.
Yep.
How do I drink my wine with the VR headset on?
So
have you practiced?
No. So essentially you don't. Let me be clear. So there are two ways that you can use this.
Okay.
Completely immersively or not completely immersively.
Right.
If you're not completely immersive, what you have is a good experience. And that's a possibility, so we can open that up for airlines, but it's not a recommendation.
Okay.
Our recommendation is for full immersion, which means that you're typically going to use it between the services on long-haul flights, after you've eaten your meal, and between your second service.
Get right into it.
So you get right into it. And then at that point in time, once you wear it, you have this advantage of being able to completely zone out of your flight, completely forget where you are, and basically just even forget your life and have just you and your content. And it's a very, very, very different experience than what you're used to. Even the best of what you have at home, to be honest. So in other words, let me make that point clear. This is the first time, I think, that I recall, I've been working in the industry for 15 years, that we're bringing a level of entertainment on in the aircraft that isn't yet available on the ground. And there's reason for that, but this is the first time that this is happening. No.
Wow, okay, well, we look forward to following future developments with this product. And then just finally, I understand that you were a pilot in a past life. So how did you go from being a pilot to creating products for airline passengers?
Yes, so I was a pilot. So I flew on the Airbus A320 and Boeing 777s. It's one of the best jobs in the world.
Can imagine.
And leaving that job was probably one of the most difficult decisions ever that I had to make. But I had a knack and a love for entrepreneurship. I knew that we could do better in the industry, and I basically transitioned into management in the airline, doing a variety of different things. My last position was head of corporate strategy and innovation. And when I was doing that, I was obviously tackling with projects, trying to bring new things on board the airline. And so it's kind of a small step from there to taking matters into your own hands.
Just tiny.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time today,
You're most
David.
welcome.
Have a great show.
Thank you.
Thanks.